And I kind of had my own version of this before. When Elon Musk said, I'm going to try and build this Hyperloop, I was like, what? What do you mean? I thought, no, that's too big a dream, and it kind of made me realize, oh, geez, we actually aren't really thinking about new, really groundbreaking things, really, are we?
Well, so Thiel's view on this is he pulls it into two planes, two axes, and he talks about optimism versus pessimism, and he talks about being definite versus indefinite. And he says where we're living at the moment is in the indefinite optimist quadrant, and this is talking from the perspective of the new world, Western new world, particularly. So, because of the huge innovation that happened during and post World War II, there was this. He talks about this almost like ingrained expectation that the same times will continue. And so people became less definite about the future because they didn't know what to expect. They didn't know where things were going to go. And so people, maybe I'll go back a little bit. So we understand what pessimism and optimism is. Optimism is you have a positive view for the future. Pessimism being you have a bleak view that things can't be fixed or we can't progress, for example. And when he's talking about definite versus indefinite, it's really about, do we have a plan or do we not have a plan? Yeah. And so what you were talking about before, Lockie, was very much a definite optimist kind of presentation where Elon Musk is saying, I am going to build this Hyperloop. So he's very optimistic about the progress that he's going to make, as well as he's put a plan into action. And you can actually see that across his entire portfolio of projects, to bloody tootie. So I want a little bit more. His entire suite of different companies actually like interlock together to create some, his grand plan for the future. And so it's very much a definite way of operating. And I think it's just something, as you say, that we don't see a huge deal of today. Whereas back, in the 1960s or prior, 50s, 40s, this was this type of progress was part of every day. It was just huge breakthroughs. And then
can I just make a point on that, is that you can kind of see, again, it comes back to this kind of question, is everything discovered or isn't it? This could be a problem of nature, that we've just picked all the low-hanging fruit that's been available and turned it into technology. But the second part of it is that, well, it could also be something wrong with our system or our way of thinking, which is what he's alluding to here.
Yeah, well, he has a decent gripe with education and the current education system, and that's not new thought in any way.
And he links
there's
that.
There's many people that think about that.
And what is new, at least to me, was that he links that a lot of these problems to the fact that we've stagnated in growth. So that because the pie isn't really growing, we're kind of finding new ways to scrap over what's still there in a zero-sum way. People aren't getting good opportunity ahead. The growth that we have had and are having is congregating in a smaller and smaller group of people. But the actual whole pie is not growing fast enough to keep everyone satiated.
Yes, and he would actually move into a space. He has this even deeper theory around like a Ponzi scheme within corporate institutions and things, but we won't even delve into that today.
That's for part 2, if we ever get there.
We'll get lost. So there's a great quote from the book, Lockie, that he talks about here, which is, while a definitely optimistic future would need engineers to design underwater cities and settlements in space, an indefinitely optimistic future calls for more bankers and lawyers. Finance epitomizes indefinite thinking because the only way to make money when you have no idea how to create wealth.